Hello, Foxy listeners. Welcome to episode 202. In this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about what I've learned from 200 episodes.
I'm Tanya Fox, and you're listening to Fox Talks Business Podcast. I started my career in the corporate world, but always played to my own tune and loved to think outside of the box. This didn't always serve me well with the bosses, so I made the decision to become an entrepreneur. And that little seed of entrepreneurial curiosity continued to grow as I branched out into retail, service, and franchise businesses. Now, I have been fortunate to have amazing successes in the last 2 decades, but they did not come without some really big failures and even bigger lessons learned. And that's why I started this podcast, not just to share the failures, but to show you how you can turn every failure into a success. We're going to hear from some amazing humans from around the world that are going to share their stories of the good, the bad, and the motivational entrepreneurial life has to offer. After all, life is too short to make all of the mistakes yourself, so why not learn from each other? And of course, we're going to have some fun, because as I always say, well, you know what? I'll tell you that at the end of the episode.
So I first started this journey in 2018 because I was leaving a retail job, a store that I owned, and I needed something else to do. And talking is something that I've done very well my entire life. And so the podcast started. And at first, I really honestly thought that it was just going to be something simple, something small, something that might not go anywhere, but it was just going to be a project, something to keep my mind busy until I discovered what else it is that I wanted to do. And what I soon realized is this was an amazing avenue for me to get people together, to have a stage for people to share their stories, to have somewhere that I could meet and learn from other people from all around the world that are living all different kinds of lives and dreams and crushing goals. And I soon realized how beneficial this was going to be, not only to you that are listening right now, but to me. And I really feel that over 200 episodes in now, feel like I'm getting more out of this than anybody else is. I get the time to talk with people before I get to chat with my guests off air, and I learned so much more about them and what they have to offer. But there were 3 things that I've learned in doing now, recording over 200 episodes, and that's what this one is all about. I want to share those things with you. The first thing that I learned is that, you know what? Everyone has something interesting to say. Everybody has a story worth sharing. I've had 136 guests and done 66 solo episodes. And in that time, I have realized that it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter how small it was that you think you are, or where you are on your level of obtaining that goal that you want to obtain, that you have a story, you have a lesson within your stories, that there is somebody out there who needs to learn. And we all need to share those. So I really want, your call to action to be go somewhere. Podcast, social media, your blog posts, writing a book, whatever it is, and share your story. Tell people where you started from, where you are now, where you plan to go, how you got there, what some of your struggles were. All of those things matter. The second thing that I learned is that there are not enough times that people hear, "How can I help you more?" I started saying this, I don't even remember what episode exactly it was, but I started realizing, you know what, I need to ask them, like, because oftentimes, they're sharing this episode, they gave me their time. I need to try to see if I can offer them anything. So I started saying, so is there anything more I can do to help you today? Anything at all? And, the funny thing is that most are surprised. The most common response that I get is, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for asking me that. Um, and but I'm still surprised about how few take me up on that offer. And a lot of the times it's not about them using this. And of course, I'm not offering it under the guise that nobody's going to be using it, but I am really surprised that sometimes all people need to hear all people need to know is that someone is willing to help them. And if you've listened to any of my episodes before this one, you know that one of the things that I struggle with is asking for help. It's a hard thing for me to do, but I do practice it often. And this is one of those things that I think people just want a chance and an opportunity to know that somebody else cares, know that there's somebody else there to help them, know that they are not walking through this alone. So, there you go. There's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, everybody deserves a chance to share the stage, whether that's a stage that you created or one that you just happen to be on. You know, from mid to multi-million dollars, I've had guests all across the spectrum, and it has been very interesting to watch them grow. Some have grown exponentially since I first interviewed them, and some have grown just a little because that's all they wanted to do. And you just never know when someone is going to bloom. And for me, I really started to realize that, you know, being a part of their journey forever. I mean, I've created a lot of, you know, really strong friendships on some of the guests that I've had, but really being a part of their journey when I can, and really being able to sit and celebrate, you know, how they're doing, some of the goals, the big goals, the small goals, the everyday goals, being able to be part of that celebration. I realized that I become a lot richer for this experience. And I become a lot richer for the little amount of time it takes me to just stop and really celebrate somebody else. So, I really hope that, you know, you tune in. I don't want to make this episode long at all. I want to give you an opportunity. Scroll back as far as you can and listen to one of those beginner episodes on some of the guests that we had. And, you know, let me know what your thoughts are on them and which one was your favorite. And then I want to make sure that you go out and you share the good, the bad, and the motivational of your journey. You don't have to wait till you're on top of the mountain to tell people that you're climbing it. You don't need to make sure that you know, the goals have all been done, the accomplishments have all been made before you start writing your stories and sharing your wins. And the last thing I want to leave you with is a quote that pulls me out of the darkest pits that I sometimes get myself into. And it's a reminder that there's always, no matter where you are, whether you are just starting out, whether you're 5 years in, or whether you're at the top of your game, there's always going to be somebody who cannot see your worth. What you have to do is make sure that that person is never you. You are worth it. And I can't wait to hear your story. No matter what it is that you're doing today, whether you're sharing your story or whether you're just listening to someone else's, make sure that you take time to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?